What's happening? I'm bored off my tuchus because I'm waiting for permission to turn on some equipment, and it's really, really, really irritating because I'm stuck waiting for permission to do a lot of stuff. So it's a lot of hurry up and wait, hurry up and wait, hurry up and wait, um, which is annoying. And usually when I get frustrated like this, it's because I'm away from home and stuff. I'm just miserable. So on that note, since I do have access, luckily, to the internet while I'm sitting here waiting for permission to turn on this equipment, I figure I'd check out what Pat's up to. Oh yeah, I heard about this. That's a rare win for Patrick, one of his most hated rivals, Elon Musk. Of course, didn't have a successful rocket launch. Well, no, they did successfully launch it. I guess they didn't do the successful second separation. I was actually very happy that it left the launch pad. Because I've done some work at SpaceX and specifically in the fueling side of their stuff. So if it hadn't left the launch pad, I have a feeling I would have gotten a phone call. Gamergate, huh? People still talk about Gamergate? Who is this? It's always so weird how you could just start going down a rabbit hole with, hey, TurboTax, maybe before you send me a scolding email. Wow. You're on Twitter arguing about a bot. What is with Patrick and the people that like follow him? They'll argue with bots and stuff like that. It's bizarre. They're almost like those video game characters that are like, what do they call them, NPCs or what have you? They just keep saying the same line over and over and over again. Wait, what is this? Don't worry, don't sure. Yes, we kind of. It's all reason to believe this terrorist cults. Who's a terrorist cult? So now we're in a new sea with difference. Terrorist. Okay. Is he talking about the Norm Macdonald fan base or something? One of the terrorist cult members is either current or former law enforcement with access to. Really? Okay. So he. Come on, dude. You seriously think somebody's gonna like somebody in law enforcement is going to risk their career and their freedom and their finances and everything for the Opus and Anthony fan board or whatever? Like when you really stop and think about it, like the stuff that Patrick says is just so over the top. This is literally where it became. How the absurd song. British people. They're always funny. I get blocked by British people all the time on Twitter. I have no idea why the FBI hasn't shut this terror cell down. Well, because the police and pretty much anyone that Patrick has ever talked to in real life, not on Twitter, because Twitter is not real life, have told Patrick, stop engaging the trolls. Stop. Just stop engaging the trolls. They're not even telling him to get off of Twitter. They're just saying, stop reacting. And he's incapable of that. What? Get up. Patrick is so utterly tormented by these stalkers that he's afraid of. He's getting swatted all the time. this terrorist cult that he's being attacked by. In between rambling about that, he could also make jokes about Bob Euchre. Isn't that Bob? Is that how you spell Bob Euchre? I don't know. I don't fucking know. I don't follow baseball. So domestic terrorism, making a joke about baseball. Domestic terrorism, talking about the Mike Lindell pillow guy. Domestic terrorism, domestic terrorism, domestic terrorism cult thing. Like, Patrick, the reason why you have no friends or neighbors or support structure is because you just nobody could get along with you. I've worked with so many homeless people, and like Patrick is basically like the long-term methamphetamine, crack cocaine, fent addicts that I've tried to help out in the past, where it's like they've destroyed any sort of social family network, support network around them, and trying to get them to kind of get sober will basically mean that they have to come to terms with their past actions and what they've done. For Patrick, the same thing is getting off the internet. He's totally addicted to the internet. He's totally addicted to social media. If he did not have social media to, like, well, how many of these go back 24 hours? Holy crap. Oh my God. Like, okay, look at all the time that he's spending here, because each one of these tweets, okay, that's what, 5, 10 minutes? So you can kind of see how Patrick, instead of interacting with human beings, Patrick is interacting with his phone. And if he can't interact with his phone, he has to sit there and think about what he's done with his life. How, like, he's chased away his daughter. Like, to the point where the state had to intervene and say, no, you cannot have access to this child anymore for whatever reason. I don't know. I don't know. All I know is where I live, and pretty much everywhere I have lived, it is extremely unusual for a parent to lose their parental rights, whether they quote unquote sign it over, like Patrick makes it sound like, or if the state has to take it away. Either way, this is a very, very big deal. But he would have to come to terms with that. He's going to have to come to terms, if he didn't have his phone, with the fact that he's a failed author. He's an utterly failed author. He's going to have to come to terms with the fact that he's been successfully sued and he owes people a lot of money. All these things he has to come to terms with. But he escapes into a fantasy world, you know, that's based around Twitter. He's going to be like a new influential influencer or whatever. Like, and of course he gets these weird people like this. I've seen this Shane Noakes guy come up. Um, you got to be pretty special when you're somebody that tries to help out Patrick, and like Patrick's like, no, I'm good, dude. I don't need your help. Patrick is always asking for help from people and asking for attention. I don't think he wants attention from this guy. There's another one. I forget. It's like a woman, Sing or something, Sig. That it's the same kind of thing where like she's trying to help out Patrick, and you can tell Patrick doesn't want to have any any kind of support from anyone other than just constant validation. He doesn't want anyone trying to like fight his own battles, kind of thing. He doesn't want attention, I should say, taken away from himself. Oh no, Patrick. The Afghanistan withdrawal is going to be a disaster no matter what, because an Afghan has no desire nor need for a national government. Wouldn't matter if it was Trump, Biden, Obama, or Bush. This is why none of those men, other than a Biden, agreed to step on this landmine. Um, it's pretty much the only thing that I will give. I'll give Biden credit for two things. One, the heavy investment into the silicon technology sector, primarily in the Rust Belt area of like Ohio and stuff. I think that's a brilliant move. Number two, I got to give him credit for actually pulling the Band-Aid off the sucking chest wound that was our involvement in Afghanistan. And I say this as somebody who's done numerous combat tours there. We had to get out of there. We should have never gone in there to begin with. And it doesn't matter who was president. There's no way. I was actually surprised how long Kabul actually stood. But you were never going to have a president that could just say like the right speech or whatever that would convince Afghans to fight and die for an Afghan national government. It's like you're better off trying to convince them to fight and die for the King of Scotland. It's an alien concept to them. It just doesn't matter. Same thing with like literacy. It's not a literacy. There is not an important life skill. Being able to identify whether something is a piece of scrap metal or an unexploded ordnance from the 70s, that's a much better life skill. So I wonder how many of these. Okay, we have. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49. So in the span of less than 24 hours, Patrick has either tweeted or retweeted 49 times. He's an addict. Like, he's an absolute addict. And I don't, for somebody like Patrick, if I was trying to help him out, I'd try to sit him down and be like, where do you see yourself in 1 year, 5 year, 10 years? And where do you want to see yourself in 1, 5, or 10 years? And I think one of the things that would make it so difficult trying to help out someone like Patrick is he's in such denial about his current situation and his own self-image and so on. I legitimately think in some part of his mind he has successfully tricked himself into thinking that he's a success, that he doesn't bring any of this onto himself, that he's a completely innocent victim. I'm sure Patrick is convinced that he doesn't lie about shit. The guy lies about stuff all the time. Like, I've seen tweets of his where he's like, "No, I've never been arrested. You're going to be arrested, child or whatever." And it's like, dude, your quote unquote internet stalkers have your booking photo. Like, they've released your booking photo. How do they have that if you've never been arrested? Like, it's very clearly a booking photo. Like, like why would you even lie about something that is so obviously, like, this is the thing that's always so amazing to me about Patrick. And I have to admit, like, I still believe that Patrick is too stupid to swat himself. But on the other hand, what's making it more and more difficult to give Patrick the benefit of stupidity, I mean, benefit of a doubt in regards to his stupidity, I guess, is that he lies about everything so fucking much. And it's so over the top about the most mundane things that I'm having a hard time to, you know, believing that, like the terrorist cults members. Like, are you talking about the O&A thing? Because, like, okay, you could try to make the argument that that these are terroristic threats or whatever. Now, if they were, that would be legally actionable, and they're clearly not, because you've tried to do this, and you've been told repeatedly by the police and probably everybody else, including the courts, stop engaging, like, stop it. But the cult, I don't get. Like, do you think the people on this message board worship those two radio guys? They were, like how does that even work inside your friggin' head, man? So we've contacted reps of all level of government. The FBI was contacted a year ago. We've talked to the media, and it's like, so Patrick, there's your sign. There is your sign that what you're dealing with is completely in your control. When the government repeatedly says there's nothing we can do because you're the one that is causing this. It's one of those things where I've had this conversation with my son before, and I'm sure every parent has, where you either you catch a kid doing something stupid, or and you're just like you're so kind of upset, and you're just like, son, I want you to explain to me, what were you thinking when you did this? Like, why? What? How did you see this playing out? And then you follow up with, why'd you keep doing it? Why'd you keep doing it? This is where I really think Patrick must not have any real life friends. Because I guarantee you, he has talked to people in real life about his situation, and they've all told him the same thing. Stop engaging the trolls. Stop it. You don't need to be on social media. You certainly don't need to be on social media where you tweet or whatever 48 times in a single day. That's insane. That's insane. But I guarantee he's pushed every one of those people out of his life. Every single one of these people. And it's like with Patrick, I get the real vibe that he's in the death throes of a midlife crisis. It's He drives a Mustang that he can't afford and a motorcycle he can't afford. Those two things, right? The only way he could be more boomer midlife crisis would be if he was driving a Corvette, because nothing to me says midlife boomer crisis like a Corvette. He can't afford these vehicles. He can't. He's unemployed. He's a failed writer. I would argue, based on the amount of tweets that he puts out with showing him drinking, that there's a very good chance that Patrick, not nearly the alcoholic that I am, like I fully admit there's a reason why I don't drink anymore. I'm a functioning alcoholic, whereas Patrick would be what's known as like a dysfunctional alcoholic. But I guarantee you, if Patrick was actually absolutely serious and he sat down with somebody who's an addiction specialist, they would basically identify Patrick as being a problematic drinker and possibly an alcoholic. Again, I don't know to the extent because I'm just basing this off of just dicking around on Twitter every once in a while. I guarantee you, though, if you sat down with a therapist, they would notice within 2 minutes of talking to Patrick that he has an unhealthy addiction to social media, and they would advise him, you've got to cut the cord, man. For anyone out there that says that you can't get addicted to stuff like Twitter, like Patrick is, I would only point out the fact that people get addicted to cutting themselves. That causes direct physical harm. People get addicted to that. You can get addicted to any repeatable human behavior. You get addicted to talking about Pat. I might be doing that, considering that now all my videos seem to consist of this knucklehead. But I don't like. This is the kind of stuff that he's saying, and it's like, okay, that's over the top. It's over the top to try to say that like it is a terrorist cult and they have police working on their side kind of thing. I still love it, like that one video that was out there of Pat, I guess, getting swatted, and he's like flipping out at the cops, screaming at the cops. And I've never had the cops called on me. I've been in situations where the cops have shown up before. I've been at DUI checkpoints and so on, after I stopped drinking, because I travel so much, long distances and stuff. But flying on airlines, it happens at least once a month for me. I'll be at an airport or whatever, and there's a bunch of delays. And you'll see those people that try to take it out on the ticket booth, the ticket counter folks, for like Delta or United or whatever shit. And it's like, I've never understood people that do this for a number of reasons. One, the person behind that counter has no control over the weather. They have no control over anything. They don't control the computer system. They don't control none of that shit. Two, there is nothing that you're going to be able to say or do that will shock or upset that person behind the counter because they deal with this shit all the time. They deal with it all the time. So like you raising a huff or whatever doesn't matter. Three, you could make all the I'm going to leave you a terrible review. Okay, go ahead, do that. Because the only people the airlines care less about than their employees are the fucking customers. They don't give a shit about customers. They legitimately don't. What are you going to do? Go to the next shitty airline? They're all the same. They're all the fucking same. And finally, if you actually do manage to say or do something that actually like raises their cackles or hackles and like surprises them or scares them, you're in an airport, dummy. They already know you're unarmed. They know you're unarmed, and you're surrounded by security. So you're going to end up getting arrested. You're probably going to end up getting hit with a couple of felonies, and you will never fly out of that airport again. And chances are you'll be banned from a number of airlines. They know that. You should know that. So there's no point in raising your, screaming and yelling and shit. I got the same vibe watching Patrick screaming and yelling at these cops. Because it's not like the cops could just say, oh, dispatch, I don't feel like taking this call. I'm not going to take this call because I know that this is this failed author guy who like will scream at me if I can. No, they don't know that. They don't like. This is the thing that like people like Patrick don't probably. It probably drives Patrick nuts. But like a cop could talk to Patrick today on their shift, and their very next shift, they're not going to remember that they talked to Patrick. They're just not. They're not going to remember mundane shit like that. It's just how it is. Like I wouldn't. I wouldn't recommend. Oh, no, maybe not, because Patrick probably trialed it on a half a dozen times, which probably stuck in their mind is like, what the fuck is wrong with this asshole? Why is he calling me child? But I mean, it's just like him yelling at these armed cops for doing their job because like this chip hatch sent them out there. It's like, dude, pick your battle. Pick your battle. It's like yelling at the ticket counter person at an airline because you're or at an airport because your airline is delaying flights. Like, what is the point of getting shitty with the cop? What is the point? And on top of this, he keeps claiming that he gets like all this. The number of SWATs that he's claiming, it's just impossible. It's impossible that any police force would put up with, like any city would put up with this. Patrick is the kind of person that like shouldn't have phone service, shouldn't have internet access. He shouldn't have internet access. He can't control it. He can't handle it. My mother and father, both in their mid-70s, were ordered by police to exit the front door with their hands in the air while guns were loaded. The stalkers have made many attempts on our lives, but last week they tried to murder my parents in cold blood. Now, I'm not gonna lie, that's effed up. And again, I want to come out and say this. I think people that like do these swatting calls and stuff, they should get the wall. Like seriously, they should get hit with as much punishment as possible because it's gotten people killed. But it's hard to take Patrick serious because he lies about the most mundane shit all the time. Mm-hmm. Use personal information they doxed on open Telegram and my name and number. How did they get your social security number? Wait, Patrick, how would they get your social? That's the other thing with Patrick, right? Like the way he acts and stuff. Like I don't understand how and why he reveals so much information about himself constantly on the internet. I've made a number of videos. I've been very, very careful. Like when I talk about my military experience, if you'll notice, I never say my rank. I always say my pay grade that I was at various points of my career. And the reason I do that is one, it's universal. Pay grades are universal throughout the military in the U.S. And two, you can't try to figure out what branch of the military I was in. I'm intentionally cagey like that. I never say which state I'm in. I'll say I'm in Appalachia, which consists of a number of states, more than just West Virginia. Like I do things like that. I went on a trip to Europe. I haven't told you where I went in Europe. I haven't shared photos of my wife and kid and my hotel and all that shit. I haven't taken pictures of me eating food over in Europe and then immediately posted online telling people exactly where I'm at and shit. Why? Because I value my privacy. I value the safety of my family. I value the safety of others around me. This is what I really don't get about Pat. We're basically the same fucking age. Like, I could understand, like, a 19-year-old shithead, wannabe TikToker, or whatever the fuck they are now, not recognizing the importance of anonymity. This motherfucker's, like, what, 48, 49? Of the way he looks? I'm guessing, by the way, like, the pictures that he's posted lately of himself. Uh, like, you're bringing this on yourself, dummy. Stop sharing this information. So, I love how he says this. He's like, look at all this damage that's being done because people are harassing me online. And Patrick's immediate response is not, maybe I should stop reacting so that lives aren't at risk, taxpayer money isn't wasted, and yada yada yada. No, no, no. I can't possibly correct my behavior as an individual. This is Patrick's mindset. I correct my behavior, change my behavior. No, 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 sweet summer child. No, that's not possible. It's not possible, child. It's everyone else that must change. The internet must change. It's like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Like, again, it's like, I'm not gonna lie. If somebody pulled this shit on me, I would be pissed. I would be seeing red. I would be, no matter where I was in the world, if I found out that somebody swatted my family, my wife and my kid, I'd immediately get on a plane and get the fuck back to where I live. I'd be posted in my front yard with one of my guns. I'd be livid. But the other thing I'd do is I'd wipe myself from the internet because clearly I revealed information that came back and bit me in the ass, and I put my family at risk. I would modify my behavior, along with probably becoming even more unhinged than I already am. But it's like I don't get this guy. I don't get somebody like Patrick where this is the thing too. He's supposedly so terrorized by these terrorists, this domestic horrible terrorist thing. Yet for whatever reason, he finds plenty of time to continue on Twitter to like talk about Patrick Stewart or whatever. This is hilarious to me. We continue to make the choice to keep living and dying like this. Says the guy that cannot stop oversharing on Twitter and reacting to trolls nonstop. Like this right here is the ultimate in lack of self awareness. This guy's so freaking clueless. So fucking clueless. I'm not gonna lie though, the Dominion thing is pretty funny to me. Wait, what? Stalkers tried to trick a wrecking company into stealing my car with a false car. First of all, the wrecking company wouldn't be stealing your car. They wouldn't be stealing your car. If they accidentally took your car, they would basically contact you and you could pick it up. Or they would even probably even bring it back to you. Um, Secondly, if this is one of those doorknob kind of camera things, I would take this to mean that this is when something is causing this camera to go active. It almost looks like the truck is driving by. Like, I don't know. See, the thing is, Patrick has lied about so much shit. I don't know how you could. I don't know how you could possibly take anything. Jackie Singh, that's the other knucklehead. I shouldn't say knucklehead, but the weirdo that like is jumping in on Patrick's stuff. I don't know why anybody would see what Patrick is doing and be like, I want to do the same thing. 33. See, again, swatted by our stalkers for the 33rd time. MPD officer just called to check. No visitor, no door knock. That's not a SWAT. Oh my God. Golly. I've got to imagine that like, this has to be, like, Patrick must do this about everything. Like, just do this about everything, where it's like, you work at his favorite restaurant, and, like, one day, you forgot to give him a fork, and he just reminds you every fucking day. And, like, if you ever forget to bring him his fork, he's just like, well, I guess we're finally improving. 337 times I've eaten at this shithole place, and well, I'll never forget the one time you forgot my fork. Like, come on, dude, this is not a swatting. This is this is this is not a overzealous idiot. Like, I'm not a friend of cops. I'll tell you that right now. I don't have a good opinion of most cops. But, like, Patrick is a prime example of some asshole who doesn't realize how fucking privileged he is. First of all, because he's not a physical threat. Patrick's not. He's short and fat. In my own situation, I'm very, very tall. I'm very, very tall and wide, and I'm not fat. I work out all the time. I'm over 6'5". I guarantee you, in the same situation, I open up my door, I'm much more likely to get shot in the chest than Patrick is. Why? Because I'm just straight up physically intimidating. On top of this, I got a fucked up face. So him acting like, oh, overzealous asshole. I guarantee you, one time he's probably put in handcuffs, and that's because he wouldn't stop running his fucking mouth. Or half a dozen men with assault rifles on our yard. Progress. It's such a fucking overly dramatic little shit. Like again, the moment I start feeling any kind of pity for this guy, he'll come out with a tweet like this, and it's like, okay. So this 33rd time wasn't a swatting. So how many of these are you like yada 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 calling swattings that aren't swattings? Like what a fucking ass. The YouTube is down. I'm guessing that them. Oh yeah, it's Somerville Dan. I think I saw on my YouTube feed something like he had a message like, "All right, I'm back." Like he was just doing this as a bit, just to see if she would respond. I guess I don't know. I am still not sure if this is not like a O&A like deep fake thing. This is when you guys do them bits, you guys you bit hard or whatever, however you're supposed to say it. But it's like it's amazing. Pat was really infatuated with this woman for a while, then not anymore. So something must have happened. I don't know. Honeymoon tour of Europe. Me, my wife, and I went to Dachau. That's a place you want to go to on your honeymoon. Oh my god. It's the only place I've ever been to where I've never even considered cracking a joke. You've never been to anywhere in the United States that you wouldn't crack a joke at? I can think of about a half a dozen places that I've been at that I would not crack a joke. Tomb of the Unknown Soldier in D.C. That's an intense place to go to. Where else? Was it where the Twin Towers were? I wouldn't crack a joke about that. Uh, Proctologist's office. Like my GP doesn't have a sense of humor. I wouldn't joke about that. Uh, I don't know. You can tell I'm really, really bored, and I'm kind of I'm padding this video out longer than it should be, so I'm probably just gonna end it real soon. Has Brianna Wu come out and just admitted that she's trans yet? Like that was like the weird thing. I remember reading an article somebody did on her, and I guess they did not realize that Brianna Wu refuses to just come out and say that she's trans, even though she's really, really obviously trans, like very obviously trans. Which it's like, you know, own what you are, kind of thing. I don't know. That's like me like walking in a room, and be like, no, I'm 5'2". No, seriously, I'm 5'2". That's how I identify. I don't really care if you want to go trans. Like, as long as you're an adult, like, you do whatever the fuck you want. I can't control you. As long as it's between consented adults, you do whatever. But, hold on, I gotta turn something on real quick. Fire in a hole. If you hear a loud explosion, I've done fuckered up. And there was light. Yay. That's at least good. Alright, let me just check something. But anyway, I don't understand people that, I don't know, I guess, want to continuously live a fantasy. Alright, that's good. Want to live a fantasy that, no, reality's not reality. Whatever. But I digress. I'm rambling. And I just got the message that I could actually power this thing up. So I'm going to start effing around with this DC direct current drive. I hope y'all are doing well. Take care of each other. I hope you're enjoying this lovely weather. I know I am, despite my allergies killing me. Take care. Ciao.